This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Let's get right into the news. All right, so Young Thug is sending out spiders this time. He sent out snakes one time for his albums. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think this is the time for antics. This is the time to get serious. He's been gone for a while. Gunna's obviously doing way better than he's doing, okay? And yeah, you can argue this all you want, but Young Thug just isn't the same. I think we can all agree on that. A lot of people checked out his latest two things he put out. He put out a feature with Lil Baby. He put out a song with Future. Song with Lil Baby was cool. Song with Future was disappointing. Future's part was cool. Young Thug's part was eh. So we'll see how the album is. I mean, you know, I'm remaining open-minded. What's it called? It's good, right? So we'll see. But he's handing out. I sent Blackboy Max a tarantula. So you know, because it's a spider thing. Okay, so cool. Let's see how the album is, and let's see how it performs. It's unfortunate he created a divide between him and Gunna. Gunna didn't do anything so crazy that 8 other people didn't do. Even his brother, you know, they just got out of jail and said the same thing, all of them. But for some reason, he has a problem with Gunna. It is what it is, man. You know, he kind of put Gunna in a bad position. Gunna was not like a thug before this or into street stuff. Young Thug was into street stuff. Young Thug's not someone you want to play with, but yeah. Jermaine Dupri says, after working with DVS and Davison, wherever you say, I think they were signed to OVO for a while. Their last album going to show, seeing how much their fans love them. And then when I heard that they just had become free agents, I had to sign them and make Davison my first signing to So Def Hype. I hope they didn't sign to him. Jermaine Dupri is so unplugged from the industry. You're just going to be an experiment project for him. This is not a good signing. I don't care what anybody says in the comments. I know what I'm talking about. He tried to sign 24 Hours, a bunch of other people. He's tried multiple times. It's not the same. You're not signing to So Def in the late 90s, early 2000s. You're just not. You know, it's totally different. Guys, stop signing to just legacy acts, you know? Now, I thought they were signed to OVO. Were they? Yeah, they were signed to OVO. So I guess they're off OVO sound now? Yeah, it says wait, they will remain signed to OVO sound. Oh, that was in 2021. Yeah, maybe they're off. Maybe they left. How popular are they right now? I haven't heard anything in a while, so let's see what their monthly listeners are. That tells you how popular someone still is. They're not that popular anymore. But man, they had a run. Anyways. They also haven't released an album in a while. Whew. Yeah, it's been a minute. The last one was 2022. Yeah, it didn't really do that well. And it was on OVO. Yeah, maybe they just want to change. Maybe they don't feel like they're the focus anymore. Ray J says Happy Pride Month, and he says, you know, we got to get down with the gay. I don't know. You know, this isn't pairing well with the story Suge just came out with, where he says Diddy and Ray J were lovers, which it seems credible. It's possible. Anyone who's really defending Diddy right now, I'm starting to think like, they've done questionable things with Diddy, and they don't want to like really stir things up. Ray J, Kanye, Fat Joe was kind of defending him in the beginning, but he kind of fell back from that. Fat Joe gets scared real quick. He doesn't stand in the fire with nobody. Beanie Siegel confirms Jay-Z ghost wrote for Memphis Bleek. Duh. Wasn't that obvious? He hasn't released anything since. He tried to release something recently and gave up quickly. Memphis Bleek. Memphis Bleek is always going to be okay. I mean, you know, he's gone through hard times, but Jay-Z quickly fixed him up. It would be bad look for Jay-Z if Memphis Bleek falls off. Now, Memphis, well, you know what I mean, monetarily, because musically, you know, he only has 368,000 monthly listeners. That's not good for being on Rockefeller. Now, Still Rock was his latest single. 63,000. That's not good. People just ain't checking for Bleek. It's been 20 plus years, bro. You can't just come out of nowhere and, you know, he has a song even with Smoke DZA and Benny the Butcher, 152. Well, he dropped something last year, too. 15,000. Bro. Do-Rag Bleek, 2024. Bro, just hang it up, bro. In the same position as Mano. Then we got Chris Chrisley's daughter coming out in support of Tory Lanez. In a sense, she's questioning the whole thing, but she's aware of the case and bringing attention to it. Her father just got pardoned. And, you know, she's just bringing attention to the Tory case and inconsistencies. I think a lot of people are doing that now. It's pretty obvious that something's off. And hopefully he gets his... he gets a fair shot on a retrial or something. Then we got Diddy. Sarah, is she going to testify? She was in the documentary recently about Diddy, surviving Diddy or whatever it was on 60 Minutes. I'm surprised we haven't seen her on the stand yet because supposedly she's a victim. Now, she was supposedly, according to Choppa City, on the show making the band. She was married, remember? She was allegedly smashing Fred and Diddy willingly. So they're just saying she's doing this now for attention. I don't know. I mean, I that's what they're saying. They were there. I wasn't. But she had a husband, too. So if she was willingly smashing Fred, that's despicable. She had a husband and a kid. Judge admits Lil Durk case. So judge reportedly notes that Lil Durk's $4.5 million bail package isn't enough to guarantee he'd show up for trial, but also indicates to prosecutors don't have him presented strong enough evidence to justify keeping him in jail. You know, the feds used to have an 85 to 90% conviction rate. But are they just bringing sloppy trials to court now? Is that just the thing? This is weird. Now we'll see. Vybz Kartel. You know what? If I was Vybz Kartel, I would never, ever go to Trinidad and Tobago because the government does not like him. The finance minister is raising concerns over $950,000 U.S. foreign exchange payment reportedly made to Vybz Kartel in connection with one Caribbean music festival. He says, I'm intrigued by the quantum of foreign exchange being mentioned in public domain. Will be requesting an investigation. This guy is cooking himself. That's the promoter. He actually came out and stated how much Vybz Kartel was charging. First of all, if I was Vybz Kartel, I'd take the guy to court immediately because I wouldn't want you discussing my fees. There shouldn't be that public to where everybody knows it, because if you're negotiating other stuff, there's factors involved. Like for a Barclays, it holds more people. They can ban more price for tickets. You don't want people saying, well, you just charge this for this. You don't want to deal with that nonsense, you know? So this guy shouldn't have disclosed that. I'm sure there's something in the contract that says you can't disclose it. And now this promoter's going to get investigated because, you know, Kartel doesn't even have to go to Trinidad. And they're hoping that everybody gets their refunds. Now, Vybz Kartel is going to keep part of that money because they voided the contract. He's allowed to keep the deposit. Probably have to return part of the second half, but it's better to just not deal with it, Just let it go. Cassie didn't testify to help. She only did it to get immunity for the crime she took part in. That's a good point by Gene Deal. That's true. She would have immunity now if she signed these things, because everyone that's testifying is getting immunity. So when they're admitting to these crimes, like they took a gun here and did this with Suge Knight, they signed an immunity clause. Like Kelsey, I don't think she could ever get charged because she signed an immunity clause in the Tory case. Big shocker, Kendrick Lamar is featured on the Clip's upcoming album. Yeah, because he's going to be dissing Drake. Lawrence, 7 years and waiting for trial after he self-surrendered. Drove from Virginia to surrender himself, and the first trial was hung. He's talking about YNW Melly. This is Kodak Black's lawyer. He says, when I had this case 7 years ago, I said that the case needed to go in the first 6 months. The state wasn't ready. The investigation was a complete ish show. Witnesses were all over the place, and speed was the way to win the case. Melly decided to go with a different legal team. I always say, if you aren't comfortable with your lawyer, change it up. He did, and had some good attorneys for the first case. But it took 4 years or so for the first trial to happen, and it was hung. Now he hired new attorneys, again, very talented team. But the new state has now had 7 years and had a first trial to perfect all the complete utter screw-ups, bad arguments, and errors. Going to trial can be scary. But when a lawyer is telling you that speed is your ally, you need to run it. Yeah, he probably would have beat it. Because they were so bad at trial. And then we got Memo600 gets pressed for dissing Lil Durk and by DJU. He says, we wouldn't even know your name if it wasn't for Durk. Yeah, he gets checked. But nothing bad happens. He just gets checked. And that's it. Yep. This is JordanTower with JT News. I'll check you guys the next one. Peace.